you're just now joining us, you're watching Christina's Motivating Moments. I'm your host, Christina Murray, and
I'm Alexander Massey, co-host.
we thank you so much for being here with us today. We have a special guest for you today on our Personal Connect panel. So I want to say hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for
All right,
having us.
as you know, we always begin with our email questions. We get questions from all over the world, from all types of people, and they always want to know or get opinions from our Personal Connect panel. So we're going to start with the first question. The first one is, you guys ready?
Ready?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The first question, it says, how do I balance my personal, my spiritual, and business life while on the road to success? Who want to start with that question first?
I'll take it.
Okay.
First of all, you have to always understand that your life got to be balanced. That every part of your life that you share, your financial life, your personal life, and your spiritual life, it requires that you spend time with each one of those.
Oh, that's good.
You cannot just go all for the money.
That's true.
If you just go all for the money, then you're gonna have some other problems that's gonna suffer. Because sometimes when you start just going all for the money, your spiritual life suffer because you start thinking you're invincible. Thinking that you're making all this money, that God didn't help you make the money.
That's right.
And then you need a social. You need to be around socially. You need the time to regenerate and get a social life and do something to feel loose. You know, like me, I like to dance. So I like to go out and dance and just let my hair down. And I don't have to drink. I just like to dance. And just listen to good music, just bring back good memories of good times in my life. And that regenerate me to focus on other parts of my life.
Wow, that's
Now, I
powerful.
like that because basically what you're saying is that you need all three to be successful.
Of course.
Absolutely. I love that. I didn't even think about that when I first read this
Absolutely
question.
do.
And I don't compromise my spiritual. I don't compromise it at all. It is who I am. I know whose I am, which I belong to the kingdom. So it helps me with my business because I am a child of God. Then I'm going to treat you right. I'm going to treat you fair in my business dealing. And in my social life, the same thing. So my spiritual life dictate and control how I handle you socially and in business.
Wow.
That's good.
Oh, I like that.
That's good. And I was going to piggyback off of that too, because one of the things is balance is great, but priorities are even better when it comes to those three things. Because if we spend too much time in our social life rather than focusing on our responsibilities and our priorities, it can all get on balance all over again. And so as we think about our day and ordering our day, just start off. If you're a spiritual person and you're a woman or a man of faith, start off with God first. Start off in prayer. If you don't believe in God, you need to still have some time to meditate and get your mind in the right, best place. And when you start off your day like that, you get a chance to get things and reflect on those things that need to be in balance for that day. One day at a
I
time.
like that.
See, you said something that the three. I love three-dimensional things. You know, because life is three-dimensional. Because we're body, we're soul, and we're spirit. And the spirit man is really the guy that he takes preeminence. He is the guiding principle in everything you do. So once you start there, you know, everything else can fall into place. I really believe, and so I piggyback on what you just said.
But this is a little off from the question, but I once was told that you have to find at least an hour or 2 hours a week to do nothing but think. You should not read, watch television. You shouldn't even you should do nothing but think. Find that safe place and turn your mind off and let it drift. Come back and just think on every aspect of your life. I mean, how effective do you think that would be?
I think that's effective. I agree with that to a certain extent. I just recently, for the last 120 days, I walk every day now and lost over 20 pounds. I'm feeling great about myself.
Wow.
And I take that time when I'm walking and to think.
Okay.
And I like to do it early in the morning. It's a great feeling when you breathe in with your nose, the fresh air.
Right.
That's
And
right.
that 30-minute walk give me a chance to think. And I think about my day, think about what I could have done better, think about my goals and aspirations. So I do think it's a time to think, but I think you can multitask and get some other things out of it.
Don't spend the whole
Right.
out of that 8-hour day.
Okay. Our second question was, how do I deal with people taking things the wrong way? I mean, things that I say the wrong way. I mean, I know that in business, you guys could definitely relate to that one. So I don't know, we want to start with the ladies first over here.
I'll start. So one of the things is, first you got to take a step back, because when you observe that person's body language and you see that now they're offended, right? Either through their demeanor now or their facial expression, you can see that all of a sudden they're offended. One great thing to say is, what do you think I just said, right? And try to clarify what it is that that person thinks they heard, because their perception is reality, right? And so sometimes it's difficult when someone is offended because they're already up in arms, but one way to kind of backtrack is, how can I make this better? What else can I say differently to make this person understand that I didn't intend what they thought they heard, right? That it was different. My intention wasn't exactly what they probably perceived it to be. So that's one of the things that I would suggest.
Okay.
And I think clarity definitely is something that we need, because oftentimes it's unfortunate, but people already have a perception about you. Before you open your mouth, they're already thinking you said something that you never said, and they're ready to jump you, to do battle with you. So that's why my attitude has always been, and where did you get that from? Did you hear me say that? What did I say? And then once you find out that 9 out of 10 what they thought you said was not what you said.
Exactly.
So actually, what you're saying is that it sometimes is not about what you say. It could be basically about what they already feel about you.
Correct.
Correct.
And
And that happens a lot. I have to be honest with you. So sometimes when people come at you, they're already challenging you. So it makes you second guess. So I think both of those work. You know, it's like I can look at the situation and say, how do those people feel? You know, feel about me, and maybe I should ask them, what do you think I said? I like
But
that.
you know, sometimes it keeps escalating. The person just keeps going and going. Next thing you know, they already to the North Pole, and you still trying to figure it out. You know, like, what did I say wrong?
Well, you know, here's my approach. Communications 101. What did you hear I say? Do you need clarification? Because it gives you an opportunity to state your case clearly, so that to avoid any kind of confusion. The moment, you know, it starts escalating, then you have to back down. You know, and
So you think you should walk away? You should leave?
sometimes it's best.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
I think one of the main things is be very conscious of your tone, how you respond. Because if you respond in a real firm or a high-pitched tone, it's going to escalate the situation. So a lot of times you have to listen. I like what both of the other two panelists said. Ms. Patty and the other young lady, well, get clarity and ask them to repeat what they said.
Well, let me ask you guys
All you can say to the sender, did you understand me to say this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I was told, listen, I talk to a lot of motivational speakers, so you can hear me say that. I was told by a motivational speaker, he said, do you believe basically that people want you to speak to them, you know, do unto others as you do to yourself? And I said, yeah, I believe in that. And he told me that that wasn't true. And I said, why is that? He said, because there's 3 types of people. There's red, blue, green, and yellow. You know, and for example, if Miss Pat is a red, she give it to you straight, frank, and that's how she wanted. Don't be around the bush. You gotta go away and say, Miss Patty, the business on fire. That's it.
I'm a red.
But then you have, you know, Mr. Marc over here, who is a yellow, and he's a little bit flighty, you know, and really, you have to say, Mr. Marc, look at me, understand. You know, so he said that, you know, I'm being a little funny with it or whatever, but he did say that you have to know the person who you're dealing with. So I think, you know, if you're working with somebody or you're in a relationship with somebody, that it would be advantageous to pay attention to them. And then that'll kind of let you know how to respond. You know, I'm a very happy person, but if I, excuse me, if I snap or something, you know, my co-host here will probably be like, give her 2 minutes. Excuse me, give her 2 minutes, and then he'll keep it moving. You know, because he's like, okay, she just had a moment, and he keeps it moving. So I agree with what everybody said, and I also think that it's important to just pay attention to your mate. You'll have less arguments because you'll kind of know who that person is and how they view life and things that's important to them. So, anyways, my co-host is gonna say the next 2 questions.
Okay, and the next 2, well, how do you? Let me get this. How do I stop myself now? Stop myself. You know, it's hard. Stop myself. And getting in the middle of taking sides in a family conflict. Because, you know, you got mama on this side saying, you better take my side. You got daddy on this side. You better take my side, boy. That's the man. That's the man. So, you know, different things come around, you know. So how do you deal with that conflict? I mean, I want to take it to the men this time. Go ahead, Jarvis.
Well, I think first of all, you have to be looking for the truth. The truth in the situation is what matters. And you have to be a person of truth and stand on truth. They have to know you have a history of that. That it's not about taking sides. And I think the whole concept, the perception of taking sides is immaturity. I don't think grown folks take sides. I think grown folks deal with the situation in a mature manner. So when you start talking about taking sides, it sounds like some teenage kid stuff. We full grown adults. You know, we deal with the truth, but then when the truth comes, we have to be able to deliver the truth in a very nice manner. Sometimes we can't just deliver that raw blood truth. You gotta be a little diplomatic. Sometimes you have to have people skills. You have to know that people have feelings, and you can't be hurtful, even if it's the truth.
That's right.
You can bring the truth and can be hurtful.
So if it's your two children, and one did something, you know, terrible to the other one, you know, betrayed their trust or something like that, would you remain neutral in what you'll basically say, okay, to the son who betrayed the other one, would you begin to, you know, let him know, or would you just say, y'all work it out?
No, it's a teachable moment. It's a teachable moment. You teach them the value of ethics and morals, integrity.
Exactly.
This is a chance to teach both of them, but you focus more on the person who actually did the violation about what ethics and morals are about, but it's a teachable moment.
And then it's all according to age too, because if you have two kids and they're fighting and you've told them over and over, that's your sister, that's your brother, you don't fight. So what I would do is go in there and tear both of their butts up.
Well, see, that has to work sometimes. But you see, the way I look at it, I believe that everything, just like Dr. Maxwell, John Maxwell, he says, you know, everything rises and falls in leadership. You know, so when you're faced with conflict, whether it's with family or in business, fundamentally what you're dealing with is, you know, this is a moment for me to rise up, you know, and take charge, because obviously there's conflict. Both sides have differences in opinion. So I now have to come and show leadership and show them that I have a different perspective that might work, you know, because essentially you want to have a good outcome.
Yes.
You know, you don't want to make enemies with them, and you don't want them to stay enemies at the same time.
Yeah.
So you have to find a way to, you know, bring some peace. Yeah.
Okay.
I was just going to say one thing too. There's so many different types of leadership styles, and some do go in and say, you know what, this is how it has to be done. You're fighting over there. You're fighting over there. You're both wrong. You know, and here's really what needs to happen, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But then there's other leadership styles that say, let's see if I can get in the mix, but help them work it out themselves,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Why interject? And I'm not taking sides, because we know how family is, and they'll hold that for you forever. But hey, I love you both. I'm not taking sides, but I'm going to help moderate this thing for you, right? So let's hear your side of the story. Let's hear your side of the story, and then let's together, right? Let's see how we can work this out. And while you both tell each other's side, let's flip the switch. If you did that to her, how would you feel, right? And then that sometimes helps too. So,
But if that's I like that. I like everything everybody said. The situation was really with two sisters. I need the details of the emails. It was with two sisters who had a disagreement, and I think that. If one person has offended the other, which is something that's actually pretty deep, you know, and I'll just use money for example. You took $100,000 out of my account and bankrupt me. I mean, from the offended side, you really have to think about it. How would you help the offended side to forgive? Because forgiveness is going to have to take place in order for you to resolve it. Because if there's been offense, there has to be
I
forgiveness.
was going to say, I mean, it's really, what's the end result? I mean, we mad at each other, we're going through this. What's the end result? I mean, do you want to continue to be friends, continue to be family members, be cordial? How do you want to end this situation? We had a misagreement, we're going to agree to disagree, you got your point. You know, I'm keeping my point, you know. You know what I mean? So that's sometimes, you know, what it comes down to.
So one of the things I say, listen, offenses will come. Life is full of offenses. And being that is how it is already, you have to be prepared, you know, have an answer.
I hate that. So the important thing is for us to basically work it out some kind of way, whether you have to, get into the middle to intervene and be that healthy balance, whether you have to stand outside and let them work it out. I agree with everyone here, but remember forgiveness.
Yes,
That's the key.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Very, very important.
Forgiveness
Because
is
sometimes
key.
you can't get past the fence.
Yeah.
You have to forgive
Yeah,
to
yeah.
even start the mending process.
But you also have to realize too, you forgive, but that person, you're not in control of how that person responds to you. So you could forgive all, I'm through with it, I'm over
Yes.
it, but that person is still holding,
Yeah.
so and still carrying
Yeah.
on. So that's all you can do
Prayer
is pray
is
for
good.
them. And
One day the
that's
light's gonna dawn.
Yes.
That's all you say. The
That's
light's
true.
gonna be.
That's true.
And
That's
then
true.
they'll be seeing the light. So now we're going to the next question. Next question is, what do you do when a loved one or a spouse ruins a special evening? Y'all out and about, and then this person just start acting crazy. I mean, off a tangent. Sometimes it's a tangent. All of a sudden it's out of the blue. Oh my goodness. And you get everybody get quiet.
And
Awkward.
I don't know about that, because if you with somebody who just run off on a tangent, you are truly.
Hey, you got to be a trooper to deal with that
Yes.
there,
That truly takes a special personality.
Yes, indeed.
But I do agree that you could be on a vacation, somebody can ruin it, or maybe it's your birthday and you're out to dinner, and it's that one person got to steal your shine. Don't you just want to take the shine sometimes? So, how do we do with that?
I'll take this one.
Okay.
And because I recently ruined someone's evening. I did. Like I said, exactly.
It's not always
That's a different
But I did something to correct it.
All right.
You see, again, like I said, everything rises and falls in leadership. Because the first thing you have to tell yourself, I messed up. I realized I messed up. So what I did, I said, I apologize profusely. And I just didn't apologize. I apologized profusely. Right? So they because there's that emotional content there. You see, so I had to deal with that so I could get that, break up that ground.
Sure.
So
The
that,
person responds
yes,
to you?
yes. Yeah.
Well, see, the situation with that, Mark, is most people that I was dealing with had read Dr. Maxwell books. Everything to rise and fall apart. I think from the shock of it, I can remember my own personal situation. The first time I went to California, I had a wife that I was with. And this is my first time in California. I mean, I'm from Georgia. I'd never been to California. I was in Miami. I went to California. I'm looking around and looking at all these beautiful women in California. We get ready to go take the tour to go on to movie stars' home to take the tour.
Yeah.
To take the tour.
Yeah.
And she just start going off right on the street. Looking at all these such and such, the B word. You got me out here doing this. And just start talking loud. She's from Liberty City. It all showed up. And the first thing I did, I just stepped away. After the shock, I stepped away and said, listen, I'll tell you what you do. We had the argument, but you ain't finna ruin my first time in California. Go back to the room. I'm going on. And I actually went on the tour by myself. So sometimes you just have to step away from it and be firm that you're not going to let your spouse ruin a great thing happen.
Okay.
Exactly.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what I was going to say was, it's something about just being in relationships, right? Because that's where we're so emotional, and we really feel like there's already all these things that tie to history too, that sometimes we have that come up in an offense, right? So it could be something that we're on a vacation, we're having a good time, and something little happened, but then it really brings back all this history of unresolved issues that we have, and that's why we can blow up, or our spouse can blow up. I just remember something similar in my spouse. He just took the wrong time to talk to me about something, and we were trying to have a stress-free day. You know how that is. And I just took the wrong time to speak to me, and I had to make a decision. Kind of going back to our first question, when do we decide to make a problem a problem? And I had to just say, am I going to make this a problem, or am I going to just chill out about it and try to work through this thing right now? And I think it also has to do with how we decide to handle.
Oh, wow, so you ignore them too. Good.
Sometimes.
Sometimes people don't allow you to ignore them. If you have a person who just want to be seen, you have people who love an audience, who want to show out on you in front of other folks. So what you would do is not go out with them anymore, hopefully. You need to know when to cut the ties. But in a situation like that, I would ask them, did you really have to go there?
Yeah.
Was that necessary? Why are you trying to spoil our date?
So if you would ask them during the
During the
confrontation,
time,
okay.
what is wrong? Why are you trying to spoil our event? We paid all this money to come all the way
Especially
here.
when you put the
You
money.
could have just stayed home and act like a fool at home or whatever.
Oh, goodness.
So,
She's a red. See, she's a red. Right?
Yes,
she's
I'm
a red.
red. I'm red.
A red. No,
I'm red.
I like that. But see, here's another thing. See, I believe that I should constantly, when I'm faced with these types of situations, to think like a problem solver. The world is looking for problem solvers. You see?
Yeah.
And so I always have that mindset. I'm always in that mode. Can I solve this? How can I solve it?
But you're the perpetrator.
Well, yeah.
So how you
Exactly.
solve it, but now that person, what did she say? Because you was the perpetrator.
Well, see, then again, see, I'm analytical. See, I'm analytical. So if I mess up, I said, what did I say? How did I mess up? You I dig myself,
But
basically.
sometimes they don't tell you what it was. They just be like, you know what you did. You know what you did.
Well, you know-
and that's all you know what you did. Don't try and play like you don't
So
know
the
what you
key
did.
is communication.
You know.
Exactly.
The key is communication in all of
That's-
this.
Yes.
Whether you're going to walk away, whether you're going to try to figure it out, or whether you're going to tell
You're
them
gonna
to stop
brawl
it.
in the streets.
No matter, or you're going to sit there and just endure, because those are the 4 different
Yes.
examples that I heard right here. And how do you decide to do it? Communication is the key.
Yes.
Go back to something that you said earlier, what the motivational speaker said to you. I remember Dr. Stephen Covey. He got a book out about 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He talks about bull, tigers, lion, bears, different personalities.
And you need to know what you're dealing with.
Exactly. That's
So,
right.
you know, and it always say that if you deal, like he says he's an owl analytical, then my response to him have to be analytical.
So that he can
Right.
understand.
So you
That's
understand.
right.
So you have
That's
to
right.
match and mirror that Tony Robbins talk about matching and mirror. And so that all of that came in handy for me. So at this point in my life, on 53, I can use all of that now
Absolutely.
in my new relationship.
Yes.
I know what I got. This girl is a lamb. I cannot come very aggressive like a lion.
Right.
Yeah.
I cannot be a bull.
Right.
You know, I can't be too analytical with her. I got to be softly touchy. I can't raise my voice. So now going into this relationship, already knowing how to, with some tools that I didn't have.
That's
before.
yeah.
That's wise, yeah.
That's
Well,
definitely.
as you guys know, you are here on the Personal Connect panel. So now this is your opportunity to let us know a little bit about you. We want the audience to get to know our special guest. We're going to start with you. I want you to kind of tell me a situation, either it became a problem, you made it a problem, or wasn't a problem altogether. So
No,
let us
I
know.
hear you.
And what you did to resolve the issue.
So, gosh, in life every day we have problems, don't we?
Yeah.
So whether we choose to make them little or big, it always ends up being something we have to work through. I remember, being pregnant and thinking that my pregnancy was a problem, quite honestly. And, a married woman, right, because there's plenty of women out there who are not wed when they're pregnant. There's plenty of women who don't plan to be pregnant and then they are pregnant, and many who want to be pregnant and can't be pregnant, right? So I remember that God blessed us. We were pregnant with our second, and to me it ended up becoming a problem because I was sick throughout my whole pregnancy. So it was a challenge for me. I made it a problem, but through a lot of prayer, a lot of support, and a lot of feeding my mind and really focusing mentally on making the situation different than what it currently was, I had to focus on the prize, keep my eyes on the prize, which is getting post the 9-month, battle and getting through all of that.
So
And
how was your husband a help in this situation? Did he, the
Oh.
whole peanut butter and ice cream, rub the feet?
No, and my husband's a motivational speaker, and so he was a blessing to me every step of the way. When I told him I cannot do this baby is going to kill me, he said, no, you will be a conqueror. You are going to be the head and not the tail. You are going to make it through this. You were going to finish this race. And he stood by my side and did all of that. And so that was something that was a challenge for us, but we made it through.
That's beautiful.
what it
And next
is. We
time,
made it through.
grab his hand and say, you're going to have the next two.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Okay, Miss Patty.
Well, one of the things I think about my business, 17 years ago, I was in a car accident, didn't have a clue about what to do or how to do, and I called an attorney off of the television. Come to find out the attorney did nothing but got what he could get out of my case and left me by the wayside. So instead of letting this fester, becoming a problem, I decided to educate myself on car accident, what you need to do, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. And I took that problem, which was a big problem at the time, because I got little money, so that was big. And I took that problem and made it into a successful business. And that's how the Michelle B. Patty accident referral service was started, because of a problem, and I made it into a successful business.
Wow, that's
Oh,
good.
okay,
That's
guys,
beautiful.
guys,
really
women,
That's how you
women,
do
they're
it.
doing it.
Yeah,
They're doing
yeah,
it.
yeah,
It's
they
a
are.
beautiful story. Beautiful.
is.
Okay.
Well, mine, like, you know, I'm a thinking guy, you know, and the reason I'm saying that is that every time something comes into my life, I take a step back and I look at it from all angles, from top, from bottom, and I had moved from Georgia recently, from your hometown, you know, from your state actually, and I had some time on my hands because, you know, and my daughter was still in high school, and she wanted to basically move from, you know, where she was, because it was difficult because we moved her in the middle of her junior semester. Very rigorous, you know, so, but, you know, sometimes you have to take risks.
Yes.
You know, and so she understood. So I educated her on the level of risk. I said, we're going to do this, you know, work with me. It's, again, and, you know, you have to build a level of trust with your children. So she trusted us to work with her. I drove her to school every day because she was in Tampa and we lived in Brandon. So I had I made that commitment. I'm going to make sure you get to everything you need to get to, you know, because if I did not do that, she was definitely going to fail. I kid you not.
Sure.
You know, so I stood there with her, worked my way through, didn't miss a beat. This young lady, who is now at the University of Florida, got into every honor society that you could think of.
That's awesome.
You know, so
You was committed.
yeah,
to the child.
yes,
You
I could
made sure her
have,
life-
I could have said, well, hey, you're on your own.
That's too much
Deal
to
with it.
deal with. I
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
going back and forth. I
Right.
got my job.
Yeah,
So,
that's what
you
I
know.
did. I took a year off, and I said, what else will happen as a result? I finished my book.
That's good. Oh, wow, that's good.
That's absolutely beautiful. All right,
Jarvis?
Mr. Jarvis.
Well, I tell you, mine is a very near and dear personal story. I've been married 6 times, and I'm telling you right on TV. And the reason I'm telling you because I learned so much from those experiences, and each one of them brought something different learning, a different learning process, a different learning curve. But at 53 now, I met a wonderful woman, and all of those skills that I learned, this could be a problem or a challenge. That was a challenge for me, and overcome all those challenges, and now able to take what I learned from those 6 marriages, and now I'm in a relationship that's healthy, that's growing, that I'm in love, she's in love, and I'm a better man because of those situations. I'm a better human being. And so it wasn't no problem for me, it was just challenges I had to overcome.
Wow, I want to thank you all so much for those lovely answers, and I'm quite sure all our viewing audience love the way you answer the questions, and we get questions all the time, but you know, you guys really helped and gave detailed answers, and I really appreciate that. To everybody that is watching us right now, we thank you so much for being here with us, and before we go, we want to remind you that no matter what you're going through, as our a wonderful panelist has said today, you can definitely get through it. You know, if you have to take a step back, if you have to get advice, you have to seek help, whatever you have to do, just understand and remember, a problem is not a problem unless you make it one. Thank you so much for watching.